Breaking barriers, building bridges, the power of unity in turbulent times. Welcome to the Black CEO podcast, where we explore the frontiers of leadership and social change. Today, we have the extraordinary privilege of sharing insights from a true pioneer in local government and community empowerment. I recently had the honor of interviewing Mary Parham-Copelan, a visionary leader who's not just breaking glass ceilings, but reshaping the very landscape of civic engagement in the 21st century. Mary Parham-Copelan isn't just making history, she's redefining it. As the second Black African-American mayor and the first woman of color to hold the distinguished title of mayor for 2 terms in the vibrant city of Milledgeville, Mary stands as a beacon of progress and possibility. Her journey as she prepares for an unprecedented 3rd term offers us a masterclass in resilience, unity, and the transformative power of passionate leadership. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Another politician's success story? What's new? But let me stop you right there. This isn't just about political achievement or breaking records. This is about a fundamental shift in how we approach leadership, community, and our collective future. Mary's story is a rallying cry in these turbulent times, a powerful reminder that even in the face of governmental unrest and societal division, we have the power, no, the responsibility, to stand together and create meaningful, lasting change. So buckle up, folks. We're about to dive deep into what makes Mary's leadership so revolutionary, so necessary for our times. It's not just her titles or her achievements, impressive as they are. It's her unwavering commitment to unity, her passionate voice that echoes the fervor of past activists, and her uncanny ability to inspire action in a time when many feel powerless and voiceless. Mary's approach to leadership is rooted in a principle so simple yet so powerful that it might just change the way you think about community engagement: standing together. In a world that often seems hell-bent on dividing us, Mary is living, breathing proof that unity can be our greatest strength. But what does it really mean to stand together in times of governmental unrest? How do we bridge the chasms that seem to grow wider with each passing day? It's about more than just holding hands and singing Kumbaya, folks. It's about actively seeking out common ground, especially with those who seem to be our polar opposites. It's about recognizing that our differences don't have to divide us. They can be the very thing that makes us stronger, more resilient, more innovative. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this point. Early in her 1st term, Mary faced a city council that was more divided than the Red Sea before Moses got to it. They were at loggerheads over a crucial community development project. Now, the easy path, the path many of us might have taken, would have been to push through with her supporters and ignore the opposition. But Mary, she took the road less traveled. She organized a series of town halls, not just to present her ideas, but to listen, really listen, to every voice in the community, rich, poor, young, old, lifelong residents, and newcomers alike. Everyone had a seat at the table. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. As people from all walks of life shared their concerns and hopes for the city, something shifted. The conversation moved from us versus them to how can we make this work for everyone? It was like watching a master chef turn a jumble of ingredients into a gourmet meal. By the end of those sessions, not only did they have a plan that the entire council could get behind, but they had a community that felt truly heard and invested in the outcome. This, my friends, isn't just good politics. It's a blueprint for how we can navigate the choppy waters of societal division. It's about creating spaces where every voice matters, where disagreement doesn't mean disrespect, and where the goal isn't to win an argument, but to find a solution that lifts everyone up. But let's get real for a moment. Standing together isn't always a walk in the park. It requires courage, patience, and sometimes a skin thick enough to make a rhinoceros jealous. Mary knows this all too well. As a woman of color in a leadership position, she's faced her fair share of skepticism, criticism, and outright opposition. There was a time early in her first campaign when a prominent community leader publicly questioned whether a woman, let alone a woman of color, could effectively lead the city. It was the kind of moment that could have derailed her ambitions, a moment when many would have retreated or lashed out in anger. But Mary, Mary didn't either. Instead, she saw it as an opportunity, not just to prove her critics wrong, but to change hearts and minds. She reached out to that community leader, invited him to coffee, and spent hours listening to his concerns, sharing her vision, and finding common ground. By the end of that conversation, she hadn't just won over a critic, she'd gained an ally. That leader became one of her strongest supporters, not because she had convinced him she could do the job despite being a woman of color, but because she had shown him that her experiences as a woman of color made her uniquely qualified to lead a diverse and complex community. This story isn't just about personal triumph. It's a powerful reminder that when we approach opposition with openness and a genuine desire to understand, we can turn potential enemies into partners in progress. It's a lesson we desperately need in our current political climate, where demonizing the other side has become as common as morning coffee. But Mary's leadership goes beyond just bridging divides. It's about actively empowering every member of the community to be part of the solution. She often says a mayor's job isn't to have all the answers, it's to create an environment where everyone feels empowered to contribute to the answers. It's like she's not just leading a city, she's conducting an orchestra where every citizen has an instrument to play. This philosophy came to life in a beautiful way during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Like many cities, Milledgeville was struggling. Businesses were closing faster than you could say economic downturn. People were losing jobs, and fear was running higher than toilet paper prices in March 2020. The easy path would have been to hunker down, focus on damage control, and wait for things to get better. But Mary, she saw an opportunity for the community to come together and support each other in unprecedented ways. She launched the Milledgeville Strong Initiative, a grassroots movement that connected local businesses with community volunteers. It was like watching a real-life version of It's a Wonderful Life, but instead of Jimmy Stewart, we had Mary Parham-Copelan rallying the troops. Restaurant owners who couldn't keep their doors open started cooking meals for healthcare workers and families in need. Local crafters began making masks when supplies were low, turning living rooms into mini factories of compassion. Tech-savvy teenagers set up virtual tutoring sessions for students struggling with online learning, proving that not all screen time is created equal. What started as a crisis response became a revolution in community engagement. People who had never been involved in local government before were suddenly at the forefront of civic action. The initiative didn't just help the city weather the storm. It created a new model of community participation that continues to thrive today. This, my friends, is what true leadership looks like in times of unrest. It's not about having all the answers or maintaining control. It's about creating platforms for collective action, about trusting in the power and wisdom of the community. It's about recognizing that in every crisis, there's an opportunity for growth, for connection, for reimagining what's possible. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, that's all well and good for a small city, but how does this apply to the bigger picture? How can this approach address the deep-seated issues we're facing on a national level? And that's a fair question. We're living in a time of unprecedented polarization. Trusting government institutions is lower than my grandma's opinion of reality TV. The challenges we face, from climate change to economic inequality to systemic racism, can seem more insurmountable than climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. But here's the thing. Change doesn't start at the top. It starts in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our day-to-day interactions with each other. The model of leadership that Mary embodies, one of unity, empowerment, and active participation, is exactly what we need to start healing the rifts in our society. Imagine if every city, every town, every community had leadership that was truly committed to bringing people together, to creating spaces that's for real dialogue and collaborative problem solving. Imagine if we all approached our differences with curiosity instead of fear, with a desire to understand rather than to prove ourselves right. This isn't just idealistic thinking, folks. We're seeing examples of this approach working in communities across the country, from participatory budgeting initiatives that give citizens direct say in how public funds are spent, to restorative justice programs that focus on healing rather than punishment, to community land trusts that address housing affordability. These are all examples of what's possible when we imagine governance as a collaborative effort rather than a top-down system. But here's the crucial part. This kind of change doesn't just happen by magic. It requires each of us to step up, to get involved, to be willing to have difficult conversations, and to work together even when it's uncomfortable. It's like democracy is a muscle. If we don't exercise it regularly, it atrophies. Mary's story and the transformation she's led in Milledgeville is a call to action for all of us. It's a reminder that we have the power to shape our communities, our society, and our future. but that power comes with responsibility. So as we wrap up this talk, I want to leave you with a challenge. Think about your own community. What are the divisions that need healing? What are the voices that aren't being heard? What are the problems that seem insurmountable? Now, instead of waiting for someone else to fix these issues, ask yourself, what can I do to bring people together? How can I create a space for dialogue and collaborative problem solving? Maybe it's as simple as organizing a neighborhood potluck where people from different backgrounds can connect over food. After all, it's hard to hate someone when you're both bonding over Aunt Edna's legendary potato salad. Maybe it's volunteering for a local organization that's working on issues you care about. Or maybe, just maybe, it's running for local office yourself. Who knows? You might be the next Mary Parham-Copelan, ready to shake things up and bring people together. Whatever it is, take that step. Because the truth is, we are the leaders we've been waiting for. Each of us has the power to be a catalyst for change in our own communities. In these times of governmental unrest, it's easy to feel powerless, to think that our voices don't matter. But Mary's story shows us that real change starts with individuals who are willing to stand up, reach out, and bring people together. So let's take inspiration from her journey. Let's commit to being bridge builders in our own communities. Now, let's approach our differences with curiosity and respect. Let's create spaces where every voice is heard and valued. Because when we stand together, when we harness the power of our collective wisdom and energy, there's no challenge we can't overcome, no divide we can't bridge, no future we can't create. Remember, the story of our communities, our nation, and our world isn't written in the halls of power. It's written in the everyday actions of people like you and me. So let's write a story of unity, of empowerment, of positive change. Let's stand together, not just in times of crisis, but every day, because that's how we build a future that works for everyone. That's how we create a world where leaders like Mary Parham-Copelan are the norm, not the exception. As we conclude this talk, I want you to imagine a world where every community has a Mary Parham-Copelan, a world where leaders at every level are committed to bringing people together, to fostering understanding, to creating spaces for genuine dialogue and collaborative problem solving. Now, here's the kicker. That world isn't some far off utopia. It's a world we can start building right now, today, in our own communities. And it starts with you. So I challenge you. Be the Mary Parham-Copelan of your neighborhood. Be the bridge builder, the unifier, the one who reaches across divides and brings people together. Start that community garden. Organize that town hall. Run for that local office. Whatever it is, do something that brings people together and gives them a stake in their community's future. Because here's the truth. The future of our democracy, of our society, doesn't rest in the hands of politicians in far-off capitals. It rests in our hands, in the choices we make every day about how we engage with our neighbors, how we participate in our communities, how we stand up for what we believe in. We have the power to reshape our world, one conversation, one community project, one local election at a time. And in doing so, we're not just changing our communities, we're changing ourselves. We're becoming the kind of leaders, the kind of citizens that our world so desperately needs. So as you leave here today, I want you to ask yourself, what's my Milledgeville Strong? What's my town hall moment? How can I be the Mary Parham-Copelan of my community? And then, my friends, I want you to go out there and do it, because the world is waiting for you. The future is calling, and it's time for us to answer that call together. Thank you.